So once again, I welcome you all in my class actually, because you are here to learn something, okay? And we all, along with, we will together learn something. I will strengthen my knowledge and you will learn something new, okay? So we all are here as a students, okay? So first of all, I clarified that. So today's topic is regarding the general points of paper 1. Yesterday we talked about teaching aptitude, the unit number 1, and some of the important background of general paper, okay? And very key points I discussed in that session regarding the most important things we should know before. uh, just a second. Sorry for the interruption. There was someone at the door. So we just discussed about the most important things that we have to keep in mind while facing the NET exam, especially paper 1. Okay, because it is very common paper, but sometimes common sense is uncommon. We have listened this statement that common sense is uncommon. So in that way, common paper is sometimes proves to be difficult for us, okay? And the low score we are getting in common paper will going to affect our paper number 2, okay? And overall the marks of UGC NET overall, okay? So in today's session I am going to share my file here. I am going to present, and it is regarding most of the important topics of new syllabus of paper 1, okay? I just I will going to discuss about research aptitude, then people and environment, then higher education, then communication, okay? So I'm going to start my presentation. Okay, is it visible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so but the topics I added today, I will just going to give you some of the important outline of these topics, okay? Different 10 units are there, and in between, after completing every unit, okay, I will provide you one or two questions, okay? So first of all, the first unit was discussed yesterday. So today we shall begin with research aptitude, unit number 2, and it is here. So first of all, meaning of research. What do we understand by research? Okay, so research is basically an inquiry, okay? We all know that it is basically an inquiry about something. There is one word, research, re plus search, okay? So searching again about something, that is research. It is inquiry, finding out some important facts, etc., okay? And it is also a systematic inquiry, okay? It follows a certain system, okay? It follows certain steps and procedures, okay? So it is a systematic and scholarly application of scientific method as well. It follows scientific method, scientific steps, okay? So it is all about research. Then types of research is there. So which are the different types? So first one, fundamental research is there. It is also known as pure research or basic research. So the first type of research has three different names: fundamental, pure, and basic. So let's learn something about it. What is fundamental research? Actually, fundamental research is something like that which makes persistent and patient efforts. Okay, in this particular research, the researcher is going to make some persistent and patient efforts to discover something. Okay, and it is also known as basic research, as I discussed. Generalization of principles and theories are included in this type of research. So in this research, the researcher is going to generalize some particular theory or principle. So after completing this research, the one theory or principle is just generalized by the researcher, the investigator. Okay, so it is based also on critical analysis of something. So that is basic research or pure research or fundamental research. Then applied research is there. In applied research, whatever principles and theories set by the fundamental research or basic research, these principles and theories are just utilized in applied research. Okay, so whatever is propounded by, whatever is found by, whatever is discovered in fundamental research, those things, those theories are just applied in this type of research, in the second type of research. Okay, that's why it is named as applied research. In this research, the application of theories is the most important thing. For example, when we study about any workplace commitment of its employee, okay, so it is applied research. Then investigating about the treatment of treatment for anxiety, it is applied research. So basically, in the treatment of anxiety, we are going to search for the theories and principles for the treatment of anxiety. That's why it is applied research. Then action research is there. Action research is a small scale research. Okay, it is based on direct action to find out workable solutions of the problem. Okay, and it is basically done in classrooms by the teachers. Okay, they do applied action research on certain mistakes and errors of their students. Okay, so it is direct action research. Okay, it is done directly on the problems of classroom. Okay, then one more example I want to give you. A study of about the grammar errors. Okay, grammar errors in any language, if it is English or Gujarati or Sanskrit or Hindi. So a study of grammar errors of students of standard 8 or 9 or 10. So that is to be considered as action research. Then there are other types. Okay, there are some more types are there in research, and these types are ex post facto research, laboratory or experimental research, field investigation research, survey research, and action research. Once again, it is there. Then evaluation research. So what does the first one, ex post facto research, mean? It means a systematic empirical inquiry based on scientific and analytical examination of different variables, and it is done after the incident has happened. Okay, after the incidents, this type of research is conducted. Then in laboratory or experimental research, some type of experiments are going on. Some types of experiments are just conducted by the researcher, by the investigator. Okay, so it is dealing particularly with the laboratory. Okay, a particular place for experiments. Then field investigation research, it is dealing with the realistic situations. Okay, real situations are there in this type of research. That's why field word is added there. There is one word, field. So field means any place or situation. Okay, that's why it is dealing with the realistic situations. And Survey is basically personal interviews, we can say mail questionnaires or discussions or any kind of investigation. Okay, so all these things are included in survey research. We are going to survey all these things. Okay, we are going to survey any problem with the use of interviews or discussion. Okay, then action research, that part we discussed, and evaluation research. In this particular type of research, the evaluation of research which is done before is just conducted by the researcher. Okay, for the programs implemented before, whatever programs were implemented before by researcher, these programs are just evaluated or examined by the investigator in this type of research. So basically it is an evaluation of some researches done by the investigator. Okay, then population is very much important topic, very much important unit in research. Okay, population is defined as objects or individuals, okay, of the whole world, we can say. That's why it is named as population. And there are two different types of population. One is finite population and then infinite population. Finite population basically involves objects and individuals, a collection of people's collection of people. Okay, for example, population of a number of students in one class. Okay, then infinite population, in this type of population, a collection of objects or individuals having no boundaries. Okay, there is no boundary in this type of population regarding how many people are there, how many students are there in this type of population. For example, population of stars, blood cells. Okay, so the number is not determined here. Okay, that's why it is called infinite population. We cannot measure this type of population. Then I just forgot to present it. Okay, let me start slideshow. So friends, here I am going to give you just outline. Okay, not the whole thing, because every topic needs full-fledged class. Okay, without a full-fledged class we cannot discuss every topic in detail, but whatever is important here I will give you the outline. Okay, and some of the important questions I have added here in this presentation as well. And after that, around 25 marks practice test is prepared by me on these 6 units. Okay, so you can get a great amount of idea regarding general paper 1 of UGC NET by this. Let's move on. Other types of population are there. First one is homogeneous, then heterogeneous, and hypothetical population. Homogeneous, as we know, it is having same characteristics, the same characteristics in the people included in this type of population. For example, inhabitants of one island. Okay, then heterogeneous, it is totally contrast with the homogeneous. It is different, it is having different characteristics among the people. So the persons or individuals in this type of population are having different types of qualities and characteristics in their personalities. Then for example, height of students in class. So every student has different height, okay, different weight. So it can be called as heterogeneous population. Then hypothetical. In this type of population, the unit is not available. For example, the world population. Okay, world population we cannot count. We can just assume the number. We can just depend on the number. But the exact number we cannot have. Okay, we cannot have the answer of the exact number of the world population. That's why it is hypothetical population. Then sampling. Sampling is a part of population. Population is a broad term and sampling is a narrow term. Sample is selected from the population. So let's learn about two important types of population sampling. First one is probability sampling and then non-probability sampling. In probability sampling, the researcher chooses or selects sample from a large population. Okay, and the theory of probability is used here. That's why it is probability sampling. Then in non-probability sampling, the purposive sampling is done by the researcher. Purposive or accidental sampling, random sampling. Okay, then hypothesis. Hypothesis is very important part of statistical research. In quantitative researches, it is used very much by the investigator. So there are certain types of hypothesis. First one, based on variables. So simple hypothesis and complex hypothesis. Simple hypothesis is created between two variables with the use of two different variables. Okay. Then complex hypothesis, it is constructed by the investigator with the use of more than two variables. That's why it is called complex hypothesis. So two variables are used in simple and more than two variables are used in complex. Then second one, based on specific relationship of variables. So it is universal hypothesis and existential hypothesis. What is universal hypothesis? In this type of hypothesis, the language acquisition we can take as an example. How we acquire any language, the target language. Okay, and when the education of language acquisition is going on, it is just governed by the way in which a natural language is organized. Okay, and it is related to all. It is related to everyone, every individual of the world. That's why it is universal. And the theories and principles propounded, derived by this hypothesis, by testing this hypothesis, are just applied to everyone in the world. Then existential hypothesis. In this particular hypothesis, it includes those people who are at one place at the same time. That's why it is existential hypothesis. Then third type is there. It is based on specific purpose. Okay, specific purpose is there. First one is research hypothesis or working hypothesis. It is directional and non-directional. So first one, directional. Directional hypothesis predicts the direction of the relationship between independent and dependent variables. So two types of variables are there, independent and dependent, and this particular hypothesis is going to predict the direction of the relationship between these two. Okay, and for example, we can say high quality of teacher education will lead to the high quality of teachers with better teaching. Okay, that we can say. Then non-directional hypothesis. In this particular hypothesis, we can predict the exact nature of the relationship between these two variables, independent and dependent. For example, a teacher-student relationship and its influence on students' learning. Okay, so every student will learn in different way. That's why it is non-directional. Then here we can say no direction is specified by the researcher. That's why it is non-directional. Then null hypothesis or statistical hypothesis. Null hypothesis is also known as statistical hypothesis, and it is used for statistical analysis, statistical researches. Okay, so then it predicts that there is no difference. Okay, there is one sentence used, one statement used while constructing this hypothesis. It is, there is no significant difference between the independent and dependent variable. Okay, there is no significant difference, or there will be significant difference. These two phrases are used a lot while constructing this hypothesis. So then alternative hypothesis. This particular hypothesis is in contrast to null hypothesis. So both the hypothesis, null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis, are just opposing themselves. They are in opposition, we can say. They are in contrast. So in alternative hypothesis, there is shown a significant relationship between two variables, independent and dependent. Then here are some of the very important part of research aptitude. The tools are enlisted here for data collection and steps of research article. So first one, let's see tools for data collection. So these tools are used for collecting data while conducting any research activity in our subject. Okay, first one is observation. While observing, we can collect the data of students. Okay, then rating scale. Rating scale includes 5-point scale or 7-point scale. For example, regularity of students in doing homework. That is one topic, regularity of students in completing their homework. So in this particular topic, we can prepare 5-point rating scale. For example, excellent, regularity is excellent. Then second number, very good. Okay, so below excellent, then good, then bad, and then very bad. So according to these types, we can construct rating scale on particular topic of research. Then checklist. Checklist is one thing that depends upon the criteria. Okay, certain criteria are followed in checklist. For example, yes no questions are there. Okay, any one question is asked whether you feel any kind of fear before presenting to your teacher. So yes or no. So students who fear from their teacher, they will tick on yes, and other will tick on no. So this type of checklist is there, and so many questions are given in such checklist by the researcher. Then questionnaire is there. Questionnaire is generally we can say including so many questions. Okay, and in this particular tool, the questions of yes no are included, and some questions are just asking for their opinion. Okay, so such questions are added in questionnaire by the investigator, by the researcher, to collect certain kind of data. Then interview, face-to-face interview. Okay, if you are going to conduct any research on librarian, okay, case study of a librarian of any particular school or college. So what we will do, we have to meet him first, and we will just meet him and will ask certain questions regarding library work, regarding his background, regarding his work ethics, regarding his profession. So these types of questions are included in interview. Then projective method. Projective method is related to projection to anything. Okay, going deeper in any particular topic. Okay, going deep into the beliefs and attitudes of any person or individual. Okay, so asking detailed question, it is one quality of this projective method. We can ask a detailed question. Okay, then sociometry. Sociometry basically measures social relationship. Okay, relationship of students, relationship of people in society. Here we can know that how much a student is liked by other students. Okay, by his peer group, by his friends. That's why sociometry is used by teachers in their school. Then here some of the steps are given for research article. These steps we have to follow while preparing our article. Sometimes the order of these steps are asked by the UGC NET exam setters. So first one, title is there, then abstract is there, introduction method, research method, then results, and then after discussion on results. Okay, whatever findings are there, discussion is conducted by the investigator on the basis of results. Then references, whatever books, whatever material, whatever online material we have used, that we have to refer here. We have to just outline, we have to just enlist all these things here, okay, with the proper format, with APA style format, we can say. Okay, so these are the steps. Then research methods are there. Particular research methods are used by the researchers while conducting any research. First one is experimental method of research. Here the independent variable is manipulated by the researcher. Manipulated means he just adds something in this type of method of research, in the independent variable. For example, students are the independent variable, and researcher can select 50 students, or he can select 60 students, or he can select 70 or more than that, or below than that. Okay, so it can be manipulated by the researcher. Then the dependent variable, and it is measured by the researcher without any kind of manipulation. And for example, we can take laboratory research. In laboratory research, experimental research is used very much. Okay, and in quantitative research nowadays, in statistical research, experimental research method is used by the investigators. Then observational method. Here the researcher is going to observe the behavior of the participants, of the sample, okay, of the people which are selected as sample in this study. Okay, so here ultimately this researcher is going to observe those people who are selected as a sample of the study. Then survey is basically depends upon the tools of data collection. For example, questionnaire, interview. Okay, these two tools are used in survey method. In survey method, we are going to just collect the data by asking questions. Okay, and nowadays survey method is used too much by the MEd students. Okay, Master of Education students are using this method because this particular method is very much easy method to follow. Okay, so that's why they are using this survey method. Then case studies are there. Case studies, as we discussed earlier, a case study of librarian or of a senior clerk of a college. Okay, so we can take interview, we can ask question in questionnaire, or we can create checklist, and by these tools we can collect the data in case studies, and we are just going to derive certain findings on the basis of the data collected by us, and on the basis of analysis and interpretation. Okay, then reliability and validity in research. These two terms are a very important term in research. Okay, reliability is both these terms are related to the test given by the researcher to the sample, to the people collected, selected as sample. So reliability means how much the test is reliable for the investigation, for the research. So that is discussed in reliability. Then validity, how much valid is it? Okay, how much validity it contains as a test. Okay, because before conducting any research, we can prepare a certain test, a particular test for research, but before implementing that particular test, we have to standardize it. Okay, and after standardization, the reliability and validity of that test is just determined. Okay, the reliability and validity is just decided by standardization of test. Okay, then here from this topic I have created two questions that I am going to ask you. and it is just for practice, and these questions are taken from the old question papers. Okay, old question papers of NET, and these question papers are around the year 2010. Okay, so at that time the UGC NET exams were difficult to qualify. That's why I included some of the one hard question and one easy question for you. It is just for practice. So first question is there, friends. Here you have to answer me by unmuting yourself, because if you type in the chat box, it won't be visible to me. I want to see your chat, so you have to unmute yourself and tell me what is the correct answer. Okay, so first one, the meaning of research is asked here. What is research? So here we have many options. You can just read out these options and answer me. Okay, you have 30 seconds time.
Sir, according
Yes.
to me, I would go with working in a scientific way to search for truth of any problem.
Okay, then anyone else?
Sir, answer number 3. C option.
Answer number 3. Okay, C. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so okay, what's your good name? Okay, maybe she did not listen me. So answer number 3, C, option number C is yes. Anyone wants to answer? Okay, no problem. So 2 students has answered, and it is option number C. Okay, and it is the correct one.
If I may intervene you, sir, can I say?
Yes.
Can you speak a option as well?
Okay, so you are not able to see this slide?
Yeah, sir, please.
Okay, that's okay. So for the next question, I will just read it out. So here, research is the options I'm going to read right now. So 4 options are given here. First one is searching again and again. Okay, so that is a little 50% truth is there. Searching again and again, it is there. And second one is finding solution to any problem, that is also there. And working in a scientific way to search for truth of any problem, then none of the above. So here the best option, the most prominent option we can say is option number C, because it is the full definition of research. That's why it is the best option we can say. Okay, so research is basically working in a scientific way to search for truth of any problem. Okay, so that is the correct answer. Thank you for the correct answers. Then next question is there. Next question I'm going to read. It is the experimental study is based on, so 4 options are given here: the manipulation of variables, conceptual parameters, and replication of research, and survey of literature. So you have all these 4 options. Yes.
So, myself, Samia, from Department of English. Option number 1,
Yes.
manipulation of variables.
Okay. And anyone
Hello.
else? Yes.
Hello.
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 Yes.
Sir, this is Ravindra.
Yes, I can.
Hello.
Yes,
This is
yes.
Ravindra
Yes,
from
yes,
Surendranagar
please.
district. According to my point of view, option number A is there.
Okay. So 2 students are going. Hello. Okay. 2 students are selecting the option number A. So anyone else for different option with a different option?
No, sir, same option. A.
Okay, that's fine. So it is basically the easy question, I think. So option number A is the correct one, because manipulation of data is done here by the researcher, that we discussed also in the previous slide. So experimental study is based on the manipulation of variables. Okay, we can manipulate the variables according to our need. Now the second unit is there, communication. So here the types of communication are asked too much in the exams. Okay, so many of you, I think you know about these types and the definitions or the meaning of these types. So let's read it out in some hurry, because we are running out of time as well. So first one, the meaning of communication, as we all know, giving messages and receiving messages, etc., etc. So first one, intrapersonal communication is there. It is communicating with ourselves. Okay, one person is communicating with himself. That is intrapersonal. So Hamlet's soliloquy we can take as an example. Okay, then interpersonal is also named as dyadic communication, and this type of communication includes communicating with other people to share our own thoughts. Okay, then intra-group, it is complex form of communication. Okay, intra-group communication is one type of complex form of communication which occurs between more than two individuals. Okay, more than two people are included here in this communication. Then intergroup communication, it involves two groups, not people, but two groups involved in this type of communication. Then organizational or institutional communication, its different name is institutional communication, and it is used in business enterprises. Okay, so in organizations and institutions, this communication is used very much. Then public communication is there. In this type of communication, public is involved. It is addressed to public. Okay, the people around us. It is addressed to the people, the public around us. Then mass communication. So here mass also means public. Okay, but it is a little different from public communication, because it means communicating with a large group of people or society without meeting them personally. Okay, so with the use of television, with the use of radio, with the use of social media, we are communicating with them. That's why it is mass communication. Then these are other types of communication, downward and upward and crosswise. Okay, many times questions are based on these three types of communication. Okay, they ask for the definition of downward and upward communication. So first of all, what is downward communication? The orders or information moving downwards. Okay, the orders and information from the superior individuals in any organization or institution. These orders and information are just moved towards the subordinate people. Okay, the juniors. Okay, so that's why it is called downward communication. Then upward communication. First of all, let me clarify about the example of downward communication. In downward communication, we can take example of for example, any person of organization, any head of organization is just going to discuss about policies or procedures or directions he is giving to his juniors. That is downward communication. Okay, so now upward communication. Upward communication is just in contrast to downward. Okay, the information and data or the messages are going upward from the downward people. Okay, so for example, providing feedbacks are always provided by the juniors, okay, to the superiors. So providing feedbacks and giving suggestions. Sometimes if they are asking for suggestions, we can with politely we can give them suggestions. So that is upward communication. Then crosswise communication involves different people on the same organizational or different levels of the organizational hierarchy. Okay, so it happens among the people working in the same organization. Okay, juniors are there or superiors are there. So these are three different types. Then there are certain barriers to the communication. So we are facing these types of barriers while communicating with other people. First one is personal barrier. Personal barrier includes bias. Okay, bias is there in our mind, or competency, lack of competency. Then personal emotions are there in our mind for any particular individual. Then mental faculties we are having. So these are the personal barriers which are just going to interrupt our communication. Okay, then second one is semantic barrier. Semantic barrier includes the barrier regarding language. Okay, regarding the verbal form of language. For example, word interpretation. There is sometimes we face misinterpretation, and the meaning is just given in a different way. Different meaning is given to the people. Okay, so wrong communication is done at that time. So sometimes gestures are different. We are giving an answer, and we are giving an answer in the form of asking gesture. Okay, so at that time communication is interrupted, and in many examples we can say the interruption of gestures. Then language translation. Sometimes Gujarati is translated into English, and the meaning is just what we can say, meaning is just we can find different meaning there. Okay, whatever meaning is there in Gujarati language passage, and we can find different meaning in English language passage, because we cannot do word to word translation. Sometimes word to word translation creates problem in communication. Then signs and symbols. Difficult signs are there, difficult symbols are there. So these are sometimes difficult to recognize. Okay, so at that time this type of communication barrier is visible to us. Then organizational barrier is there, organizational climate barrier. So sometimes in organization where we are working, we have some type of fear from of our superior people. Okay, fear of being misinterpreted, then fear of exposing oneself to criticism. Sometimes we believe that if I will say something, other people will review me, other people will just criticize me in their group, and so better to not speak. Okay, so it is once again a barrier to communication. Then fear of getting fired. Okay, losing job. Okay, so that is one fear. So this is organizational climate barrier. Then organizational structure. Sometimes the structure of organization or institution becomes the barrier for communication. For example, lack of proper chain of command. Okay, lack of proper administration, lack of proper leadership, or political manipulations are there. Okay, so at that time the structure is just disturbed, the organization structure is just disturbed, and the communication is interrupted. And then technical barrier is there. Technical barrier includes the distance. Sometimes a remote area becomes the interruption for the communication. Geographical distance is there. Failure or disturbance or malfunctions in the technological interventions, and improper time of communication sometimes. So these things are included in technical barriers. So whatever is connected with the technology or with the technical aspect, these are included in technical barriers. Okay, so these 5 different barriers are there of communication. Now for this communication topic, we have two different questions. So first question here we have an example of a synchronous medium. An example of a synchronous medium is, so 4 different options are given there, and these 4 options are radio. First one is radio, then second is television, then film, then newspaper. Okay, so 4 options are there. First is radio, television, film or movies, and last one is newspaper. So you have to find out the correct answer. Tell me which one is the correct example of a synchronous medium.
Hello.
Yes.
Maybe it's newspaper, sir. Not sure.
Okay.
Or radio, sir.
Anyone else?
Radio.
Okay, then. Okay.
Sir, option
Newspaper or radio, huh?
Okay.
Newspaper.
Okay. So you people have any kind of idea about this? Why newspaper or radio is the
Sir, to
correct answer?
synchronize means to get something together. So that's why I just guessed that it may be newspaper. If
Okay,
there any
then-
another word of synchronize, that I don't know. So you may explain me.
No, you are exactly right.
Okay, thank you.
So here the newspaper is the right option, because in newspaper we are gathering too many things. Okay, that's why it is the example of a synchronous medium. And here newspaper is a tool for communication. All the 4 things here mentioned here are the tools of communication, medium of communication, we can say. So the right answer is D, newspaper. Then the next question here, it is very interesting question, and I think you must have an idea about this question. It is ultimately very easy question. Which is not 24 hours news channel? Options are NDTV 24/7, or B, G News, or Aaj Tak, or Lok Sabha channel. Yes, please.
Hello.
Yes.
It's D, sir. Lok Sabha channel.
Okay. For you, it is Lok Sabha channel. Anyone else? Any student want to answer?
Yes, sir. D, Lok Sabha channel.
Okay. So as I said, it is somewhat very easy question, because we can see that all the news channels are 24 hours channels. Okay, and Lok Sabha channel is not 24-hour news channel. So option number D is correct one, Lok Sabha channel. And here, friends, these 4 units I have not added here in my presentation, because these 4 units are related to the smart work, or related to the solutions that we can do by ourselves. Okay, first one is unit number 3, reading comprehension. So each passage is different in each paper. Okay, so we cannot we cannot select any particular passage or paragraph for practicing, for preparing of reading comprehension. Okay, so you can just solve old question paper for this. Then unit number 5, 6, and 7 are there. Mathematical reasoning and aptitude, logical reasoning, and data interpretation. So all these 3 points are also very much easily prepared with the old question papers of NET and SET exams. I included SET exams as well, because in SET exams of different states, there are different types of reasoning and mathematical questions, data interpretation questions. Maybe it is these questions are in regional language or vernacular language or their own language, but we can have the practice in our mind. That is very important. Okay, language is not the barrier, practice is more important. Then SSC exams paper as well, because SSC exams papers are having these types of questions. Okay, reasoning questions are there and data interpretation questions are there. So we can also solve these question papers for these particular topics, unit number 5, 6 and 7. Okay, so you can find out these old question papers from different websites. Okay, and you can just solve them. You can just solve them by attending each question of these units. Okay, and then after attending all the questions of these units, you can go through the answers and you can check the answers, and you can just check your own score, whatever you have achieved after each question. Okay, so by this method, by this approach, you can develop your ability of these types of question. Okay, then unit number 8 is there, ICT, in information and communication technology. So we all are, as I discussed earlier yesterday about this particular topic, computer and ICT, that we all are young generation, okay, including me as well, because I am not much older. Okay, so we all are aware of this particular topic. We are using this nowadays. From last 6 or 7 months, we are just along with this for 24 hours. Okay, so general abbreviations and terminology used in ICT. Okay, this particular thing we have to prepare. General abbreviations connected to ICT and computer. Okay, for example, AUP, acceptable use policy. So these types of abbreviations you have to keep in mind. Okay, then bandwidth is there. Bandwidth is a terminology. It is a term. Bandwidth means a connection to send some amount of data from one computer to internet and vice versa. Okay, so these types of questions we have to prepare, and we can find these things from different types of website in the form of study material on ICT. Okay, you can just spell there study material of ICT or computer. You will find lots of material regarding this. Okay, in fact, I have uploaded one file regarding this on my blog as well, so you can find it as well. So next is basics of internet, intranet, email, audio and video conferencing. So the basic ideas, the concept of these particular topics, internet, intranet, email, audio and video conferencing, that we have to prepare. Okay, these we can prepare from the study material that we can find from Google or any website. Okay, so then digital initiative in higher education. So higher education is different topic as well in this new syllabus of paper 1, but here it is mentioned as digital initiative implemented in higher education. So any policy is constructed by higher education authority or by MHRD regarding digital education or regarding digital learning, that we can find out. Okay, the current affairs can help you here. Current affairs on ICT or computer will help you here. And when we read out the current affair questions, we should not read the current affair questions of those months in which the exams are going to be conducted, because the exam papers are just prepared well before that particular month. Okay, more before 2 or 3 months. So we can prepare current affairs of those months. For example, right now September is going on, so we should not read out current affairs of September month, because they will not ask the questions of September. Okay, so they will ask questions about current affairs of maybe August, till August they can ask. Okay, then ICT and governance. How can ICT or computer help the government? Okay, how it is helpful to government. So any government policies there regarding ICT, that we have to prepare here. Here for practice, so first one, very easy topics are there, and questions are asked here from ICT are based on computer. Okay, most of the questions are asked from computer. So first question is there: when a computer is booting, BIOS is loaded to the memory by, four options are there: RAM, 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 then B, ROM, ROM, then C, CD, ROM, then D, TCP. So these are four options. You can answer me. Yes.
Yes, B, ROM.
Okay, for you it is ROM. ROM, B. Then anyone else, please?
A. RAM.
Okay. RAM, RAM. Okay.
D.
Then anyone else?
Rome.
ROM. Maybe
Yes,
most of the students are saying ROM. Okay. So the correct answer is ROM. It is B. Okay.
Read-only
So
memory.
read-only memory, yes. That's nice one. So read-only memory is just helping here. Okay, when a computer is booting, BIOS is loaded to the memory by read-only memory. Okay, so that is the correct answer. And RAM is random access
Random access
memory.
memory.
Okay, yes. So these things are very much confusing. Okay, so that's why I want to tell you that you have to just revise these things. You know about these things. Okay, you know the full form of these different abbreviations. But sometimes such question is asked, and we are just in confusion. There are two options. I want to go with, and one option I have to select. Which one I have to select? Okay, so for this we have to prepare. Then the next question is, the acronym FTP stands for. It is once again very easy question, and it is once asked in UGC NET exam. Four options are there: file transfer protocol, fast transfer protocol, file tracking protocol, and file transfer procedure. So choose one option and give me the answer.
So it is
First one.
file transfer protocol.
Yeah, it's A, file transfer protocol.
A.
Okay, it's A. That's nice. That's very
Yes,
much
sir.
very nice. Oh, that's good. So option number A is correct here. File transfer protocol. Okay, FTP. Okay. So other options we have to just remove here. Okay. Then our next unit is people and environment. Okay, we'll go in little hurry because we are running out of time. So here in environment we have to keep in mind the components of environment. Abiotic or non-living component, it includes lithosphere, solid earth, we can say, hydrosphere, water component is there, then atmosphere, gaseous envelope. Okay, regarding different gases. Then biotic or living component is there, then energy component. Okay, so what does these components mean? What do these components mean? Let's see one by one in a brief. So first one, biotic component. Abiotic component, it deals with the solid earth and water components and gaseous envelope, which are prevailed on the earth right now. Okay, so non-living components are there. Then biotic deals with the human being. Okay, with us it is dealing with. Then energy component is dealing with the energy resources like solar, wind, hydro, geothermal, biomass, nuclear, forests, etc. Then theme of the World Environmental Day, that is very much important. It is asked many times. So whatever theme is decided by the government or by the authorities for the current year, for the 2020 year or for the 2019 year, for 2 years, we have to prepare the theme. We have to identify, we have to know about the theme, which theme was there in 2019 Environmental Day, and for this year's World Environmental Day. So 2 questions are there in this particular topic. Okay, then environmental issues are there, local and global, then pollutions, climate change. So these topics we have to cover up in this particular point. Then Environment Protection Act. So different acts are there, different laws are there, decided by the authority, by the central government from time to time. So first, let me say that the Protection Act of Environment, it was emerged in 1986. That is the year. Then Montreal Protocol is there, Rio Summit is there, Convention on Biodiversity is there, Kyoto Protocol is there, Paris Agreement, International Solar Alliance is there. So we have to find out in books as well as in websites that what is Montreal Protocol and what does it about. Okay, so Montreal Protocol was actually finalized in 1987 after this Protection Act, and it is I think it is an agreement, a global agreement by the authorities of the world to protect the ozone layer. Okay, so that's why it was just finalized at that time. Then in the same way, we have to find out about Rio Summit. What is Rio Summit and what is it is about? Then Convention on Biodiversity, Kyoto Protocol. Kyoto Protocol is also one type of agreement to manage and reduce carbon dioxide. Okay, so it is the carbon dioxide is related to Kyoto Protocol, that we have to keep in mind. Okay, in order to emission the greenhouse gases. Okay, that's why it was emerged, it was finalized. Then Paris Agreement is there. Paris Agreement is one type of framework by the world authorities to avoid the dangerous climate change. Okay, then International Solar Alliance, and this particular thing is just finalized currently, recently in 2020 by, I think, Sri Narendra Modi has initiated this maybe. So we have to find out these things and we have to prepare a small note regarding this. For example, for Montreal Protocol, so its meaning, first of all, where the meeting was held, and what was the year, and which were the countries included in this particular protocol. Okay, so these 5 to 6 things we have to keep in mind, and we have to prepare certain note regarding this. So in the same way, we can prepare note for other subjects. Okay, so then here for practice once again, so here you have first question: the atmosphere of the earth consists of nitrogen and oxygen gases in the ratio of, so here we have 4 different ratios. First one is 1 gem 7, then 4 gem 1, then 1 gem 2, and 3 gem 5. So find out the correct answer and tell me.
Sir, I think it is A, 1 gem 7.
Okay, for you it is 1 gem 7. So the question is visible to everyone or not?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Maybe
Okay,
it's
so you can read
4
it
gem
out.
1.
4 gem 1, maybe
Yes, sir.
Maybe
the B,
I
option
agree.
number B.
not sure, sir.
Okay,
Just gazing that 4 gem 1.
okay, but you have to finalize it.
That's okay. 4
You
gem
have to
1.
lock it.
Okay, lock it, sir.
Okay, 4 gem 1. So luck is with you. It is 4 gem 1. The option is number B is correct. Okay. So the atmosphere of the earth consists of nitrogen and oxygen gases in the ratio of 4 gem 1. Option number B is the correct answer. Okay. So that's very nice.
Praveen.
Okay. Once again, the new question is there.
Okay, yes.
Which of the following is not a greenhouse gas?
Methane.
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 Okay.
Final
Anyone else?
answer.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yes, sir, definitely.
It's methane, sir.
So you also go with the ethane.
No, it's
Yes, sir.
methane.
Methane or ethane? Methane or
D,
ethane?
D. It's D.
D,
Methane.
D, sir.
D.
Methane.
D.
Sir, it's
D. Methane.
ethane, not methane. For me, it is ethane.
I'll go
Okay,
with D.
option number C or D. You are going with
D,
D.
sir.
Sir,
Or D.
sir, I'm going with C. Option
I'm going with
C.
D.
Yes.
D is final.
Oh, okay, so here let's see the correct answer. It is C, ethane.
Oh my God.
So sometimes when we are sure, the luck is not with us. It happens.
Yes, sir.
So which of the following is not a greenhouse gas? Ethane is not the greenhouse gas. Other three are included in this category of greenhouse gases. Okay. So last topic of today's session, higher education system. So here I want to clarify that here we have to be very keen regarding preparation of this topic, because central universities, open universities, distance education council and distance universities and deemed universities, these 4 points are very much important because questions are asked on these 4 points. Okay, so for example, which of the following is not the central university, or which of the following is not the open university? So they are asking like this. Okay, so one is not the open, one is not open university, and other are open universities, and maybe one is open university and other universities are just distance or central universities or state universities. So keep in mind the universities, different universities, open and central, and we are having one question regarding this. So first one, universities in India. There are many universities in India. They are not asking for the number of universities in India, but they are asking about which of the following university is private university or state government university or central government university or distant university or deemed university. Okay. Then which of the following university is regarding technical education? So they are asking like this. So these things we have to keep in mind. You can find it out from YouTube videos available on YouTube channel. Different channels are having videos on these things. Then you can find it out some of the important materials on Google or website, as well as in the books of paper one. One book I suggested yesterday you about paper one by Harpreet Kaur. Okay, so here agriculture universities are also there. Then about UGC, NCERT, IGNOU, AICTE, CBSE, ICSSR, IIAS, ICPR, NCRI, NCTE, SCRT, NUPA. So all these things are there. They sometimes ask for the full form, but let me clarify that they will not ask about the full form of UGC. We all know that. Okay, but they can ask about the full form of ICSSR, full form of IIAS. So that can be found in websites as well as in Google. Okay, so some of the things I know, UGC as we all know, NCERT we know about it, IGNOU, Indira Gandhi National Open University, AICTE. AICTE is just the All India Council for Technical Education. Then CBSE, the CBSE Central Board of Secondary Education. Then ICSSR, particularly ICSSR, it is Indian Council of Social Science Research. Okay, Indian Council of Social Science Research. It is just providing funds for the conducting researches in social sciences. Okay, and IIAS is Indian Institute of Advanced Studies. Okay, advanced studies that we have to keep in mind. Then ICPR means Indian Council of Philosophical Research. Okay, it is particularly deals with the philosophical researches. Okay, the researches of philosophical topics, philosophical problems. So Indian Council of Philosophical Research. Then NCRI means National Council of Rural Institutes. Okay, National Council of Rural Institutions. Okay, then NCTE NCT is once again very well known abbreviation. Okay, National Council for Teacher Education. Okay, then SCRT. SCRT is a small format of NCRT. Okay, in NCRT, national word is there. In SCRT, state word is there. Okay, State Council for of Educational Research and Training. Then NUPA. NUPA is a longer is having a longer full form. It is like a National Institute of Educational Planning and Administration. Okay, National Institute of Educational Planning and Administration. So all these are here, the important terms I have mentioned here. So you can find other terms as well. Okay, then other programs and learning activities that are which are governed by the central government or state government, that we can find out. We can find it out and we can prepare. Oriental, conventional and non-conventional learning programs are there, which are governed by the authorities, or the MHRD, or by UGC, or by NCTE, or by different other universities. Okay, then policies, governance and administration. Some of the questions will be asked based on policies by government. Okay, for example, National Education Policy, which was just going to implement in a few months. Okay, so some questions will be asked from that policy, because it was just finalized in the last month. So maybe 2 or 3 questions can be asked from this particular point. Then governance and administration by the authority. Okay, MHRD. So we have to find out some content from MHRD, from UGC, from NCRT, from NCTE, from CBSE. So all these things we have to find it out, and we have to prepare small notes. If you are having some time, then only you can prepare notes. Otherwise, you will find it out from different websites or from the books. Okay. And one more thing I want to suggest, just underline whatever you are reading in the books. Okay, because underlining that particular statement or particular answer or point will be very easy to find it out once again when we are going to revise it. Okay, so underline it. So friends, here
Hello.
practice
Sir.
Yes.
Hello, sir. Sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
Can you brief us about deemed university? Actually, I'm not getting that word also. Before question. Deemed, D-double-E.
Okay, just a minute. Okay, let's first finish this particular question.
Okay.
Then I will. The question is regarding education is a subject of legislation figures in the 4 options are given here. Okay, so 4 options we have to find out the correct answer here. So friends, please answer me the correct answer.
It's concrete list.
Concurrent.
Option C.
Concurrent
Concurrent list.
Concurrent list, yes.
Sir, option C, concurrent list.
Okay. Then anyone else?
C.
Hello, anyone else? Option number C. Okay, so concurrent list is the right answer for this question. Education is a subject of legislation figures in the concurrent list. So this particular topic, education, is included this list of the government. Okay. Then which of the following are central universities? So here we have 4 different universities, and the correct answers we have to find out from these 4 options. Okay, A, B, C, D is there. So this time is for confusion. Okay, because such questions are asked in exam. We are just confused between among the universities which university is connected with the state government or to the central or autonomous university is there or central. So find it out. Pondicherry University is there, Vishwa Bharati is there, HNB, Garhwal University, Kurukshetra University is there.
Answers are there.
Sir, maybe option 1.
Yes?
Answers
Yes,
are
please.
there in comment box.
Maybe option 1.
Answers are there in comment box.
But I cannot see your answer because right now I'm presenting. That's why.
Okay.
Sir, option A is right answer for me.
Option A for you, 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Anyone else?
Yes, sir. According to me, option A, because I am confused about Kurukshetra University.
Okay. Anyone else?
No, not sure.
Okay, let's find it out. Option number A, the people who have answered option A, congratulations to them because it is a little difficult question. It was. So option number A, 1, 2, and 3. So first, second, and third. These 3 universities are central universities. Okay. And the fourth one, Kurukshetra University, is not the central university. And Pondicherry University, Vishwa Bharati, and HNB Garhwal University. Sometimes only Garhwal is written there in the exam. So HNB Garhwal University, these universities are the central universities in India. So friends, that's all for today. If you have any question in your mind, and one question was there by one my dear friend, it was regarding deemed university. So deemed university is not private university, and it is not government university. Rather, it is enjoying the autonomy. Okay, it is autonomous institution, we can say. It has its own rules and regulations, but within the law of India. Okay, that we can say. So autonomy is the important thing. The key term is autonomy here. Okay, that is deemed university. Okay, so are you satisfied or not?
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Thank you. And
Okay.
sir, if you have any
Further
question
you can,
regarding literature, then where we should ask?
I'm going to give you my channel link here. I have mentioned there in the below the slide. Okay, you can just find me with my name Rajnikant Dodia in YouTube search. Okay, you will find my name there. You will find my channel. Okay, and
Okay, thank you.
there is one blog by me, rajnikantdodia.blogspot.com, and I have also given my mobile number there. Okay, so you can contact me anytime via WhatsApp or by call. By call, you can contact me in daytime.
Okay, so may I have
So,
now?
friends, yes. So, friends, at last, let me clarify about something. Resources for preparation. Okay, this is my personal guidance to you. Okay, personal advice, we can say. I'm also, this is my own experience for NET and SET exams. I have qualified in both these exams, in English as well as education. So first of all, YouTube videos. Nowadays, YouTube videos are very much popular and famous. Okay, and easily available, as I discussed yesterday, because we can find out any topic in YouTube in the form of video. Okay, and in literature or for the paper 1, you will find so many videos regarding different topics of paper 1. Okay, so you can trust on certain videos, certain channels who are having more subscribers. Basically, we are just observing the number of subscribers they have. Then only we are going to watch their videos. Sometimes it is not proper, but for the first time we can do it. Okay, so find out some of the important topics from YouTube by searching out the name of that topic. Okay, then making notes on each topic. For this exam, it is going to held on 1st of October, okay, for English subject. So we don't have much time for preparing notes on each topic, but if you are willing to give it for the next for the second time in the next for the next year, okay, if you are not qualified this time and you are going to give it, you are going to face this exam next year, you can do this. You can make notes, small notes that can be remembered by you, that can which you can properly revise and remember. Okay, only IMP concepts you can mention there, because paper 1 has broad syllabus, as well as English literature has broader syllabus, we can say. Okay, then reading one-liners or attending mock practice tests for short time preparation. So this third advice by me, suggestion by me is for this time duration of 10 days. We have only 10 days, less than 10 days. So we can just revise during this time. So reading one-liners means just a question and its answer. Okay, I have prepared so many videos on one-liners. Okay, then attending mock or practice tests. Okay, you will find mock test and practice test after this session, as well as on my blog, as well as on other websites. Okay, so you can face these tests for strengthening your knowledge regarding paper 1 or paper 2. So friends, that's all for today. Thank you so much